Hey everybody, this is Grace, and in this video I'm going to talk about dysfunctional families and agoraphobia. Okay, in this I'm going to give an example using Dawn and David, a brother and sister. Dawn is 50 and David is 47, and they came from a very dysfunctional family, and a lot of bad things happened. And at age 18, Dawn became responsible for her brother. And the elders of that community, they gave her a house, and it was inherited. And she, actually she was 17, and they gave it to her, when she was 17 to take care of him. They allowed it, and they lived there for a long, long while. But they came from a very dysfunctional family where there was a lot of abuse, mainly by the grandmother, the mother's mother. Okay, now how that came about is that their mother, she was basically what her mother called a wild child, and she really didn't take much responsibility for her own kids. She was very nice, but she was very wild, and at some point, the man that she was, that's their father, he was just a deadbeat dad, and didn't want to pay child support, and that all kind of ended really bad. But anyway, when she realized, she couldn't live on her own, and she hadn't inherited anything, their mother, she moved them into her mother's, just her mother alone lived there, and she moved them into their house. And the grandmother was just really, very toxic person, very bad person to them, and mistreated them, did all kinds of evil kind of things to them, as far as mentally, and threatened abuse of other types, and they were all very afraid of her. Okay, and I can see that, in some dysfunctional families, somebody in the family might wind up taking care of a brother or sister for basically the rest of their lives. And I know that happens. And in this case, that was basically the case, because it was so, what happened, I'm not going to mention in the video, but when Dawn had to take care of him, he basically, David, he started to develop where he couldn't leave the house. He finished school, but as time went by, he got worsened and worsened. His anxiety became so bad that after graduation, he stuck mainly around his best friend Christopher, and after graduation, he just refused to leave the house. That was it. Okay, now Dawn had inherited the house, and David too, but some money that they came from a wealthy family in a wealthy county, town and county. And like I said, the elders, they kind of run the show, and they keep up with who's going to inherit what from the original settlers many eons ago, and who, what they would do, and they enforce that the people who are the rightful heirs of the family, they would get it. And so they both have money, but David just refuses to leave the house and use any money. Basically, he just stays at home, but he's very smart, and his friend Christopher moves in and helps them out, goes to places for both of them if they need it. And Dawn, she has aspirations to be a writer, and she basically does work for in the olden days when she was young, did work for a newspaper, and just moved up and learned how to do it and all through, watch it, stop, woman. Yeah, that woman seemed like she wasn't going to stop at that light, and she was just looking like she was ready to, she just kept pulling up, and then she looked like she was ready just to go out in front of anybody. That was kind of scary. And where was I? Now, as time went on, Dawn had been taking care of him since, they're everything that happened. And she developed a more like a motherly figure type, but she still treated David as whatever age he was. She didn't infantilize him. She didn't treat him like a child when he became an adult. She had to be responsible for him until he became an adult. But she felt that kind of feeling at times like she was more of a parent to him. Eventually she got over it, but it was, it came and went, and she tried to get him counseling, and he just wouldn't leave the home. And back then they didn't have any kind of thing where you could do it online over the phone, and somebody come out, and nobody would come out to your house. And it went on for years, and eventually, he understood what he had, and he worked, he finally found one that would come to the house, a psychiatrist, but nothing really helped with him. He just refused to leave, and to leave the home. And they could travel, though. Christopher, his friend, Dawn became a writer, and she wrote fiction novels, mainly romance novels. She never married. At that point, she was not married, and neither one of them. And she bought an RV because he could actually go in the RV, as long as it was from the house. And they had the RV in they had it special made to where they could fit the RV inside, where it was shut in as part of the house, and he wouldn't be on the outside of the house when he transferred from the house into the RV. Now, once they were on the road, it did not bother him either. Now, some would say, you could, but for him it did not. And his friend Christopher became the driver and was paid by Dawn and David to be his, basically everything for him. He learned a lot, and he took classes in order to how to help him. David wasn't physically disabled or challenged in any way, but he did need certain things for when he had certain kinds of reactions to things. He needed somebody who knew what he was doing and did. Now eventually they had moved, and they had gone across to support her, to promote her books and even bestsellers. They traveled in that RV around the world, and finally, when 2020 hit, what I'm talking about, they decided to come back to their home in Victorson County and Bella, Texas, and that, by the way, is fictional, the town, and the name of the town and county. And they decided to come back and stay in their home, for health reasons. And that's what they did, and with Christopher, and they stayed there. And while he was there, David, at this point, by the time he was 47, he had been writing, but under a pen name and under her name, also Dawn's name, and then a pen name, a pseudonym. And he was very into the research. He did the research for her and for himself, for the books that they made. His was more along the line of science, and he did manage to earn his degrees later on in life, whenever he could do some of them on, most of it, he could do it online, because he would not leave the house. So he did some of it as independent study, individual study, and they, for a person who was disabled, he was allowed to do it and to earn his degrees. So that's what they did. And now at this point, he is starting more, when they came back, he heard about a woman, Charlene, who was she's 37 at this point, and she was a counselor and a spiritual counselor and a religious Christian counselor. People call it different things, but she also was, is an LPC, licensed professional counselor. So he heard about her on their county's website. She had advertised, and she, for her business, and so he called her and told her his issues, and she basically said that she could not help him at the moment, but that he should call a certain church. But he knew they hardly had any counselors, and but he wanted to get into counseling because he was back home during the pandemic. Maybe they could do it over the phone or something like that, but he wanted somebody from the county because they were type of people who are more, let's say, decent, okay, in that particular county, in that town even. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up for this part right now, and stay tuned, subscribe for more videos to come.